His name was Emmanuel. He was 35 years old, tall, strong, and always smiling on the outside. People in town called him a successful man. He had a beautiful wife named Esther, 3 playful boys, a shining house, and a business that brought him money every week. If someone asked Emmanuel what else he needed, he would laugh and say, "Nothing. My life is perfect." But perfection is a quiet thing. Sometimes, too quiet. Esther, his wife, was soft like morning wind. She never shouted. She never argued. If Emmanuel said something, even if it was wrong, she only nodded and smiled gently. She didn't ask questions. She didn't complain when he came home late. She didn't become angry when he traveled suddenly for business trips. Her silence wrapped the house like warm air, you could almost touch the peace. And Emmanuel loved that silence. He loved how she obeyed, how she trusted, how she never fought. To him, silence meant control. It meant power. He believed he owned every corner of his life, his home, his business, even his secrets. Yes, Emmanuel had secrets. Dark ones. There were other women. Many. Sometimes young, sometimes older, sometimes strangers he just met during travel. Emmanuel hid them like folded clothes inside a dark drawer. He never thought those secrets would come out. Why? Because Esther never asked. She never shouted. She never pointed at him and said, "I know what you're doing." To Emmanuel, silence was blindness. And blindness meant freedom. Most nights, Esther waited for him with food warm on the table. The children ran to him, laughing and pulling his shirt. Esther smiled, set water for him, served his meal, and said softly, "Welcome home." Even on nights when he smelled like a hotel room. Even when lipstick marked his shirt like a quiet warning. She said nothing. And Emmanuel felt safe. Too safe. He would leave home with a small bag, say the same words every time. "Esther, I have to travel for work. I will come back soon." Esther always answered gently. "All right. Safe journey." No anger. No fear. No tears. He didn't know she watched. He didn't know she recorded. He didn't know she knew everything. One sunny afternoon, Emmanuel stood outside the house with keys in his hand. Esther was washing clothes behind the building. Their 3 sons were playing football on the grass. He kissed Esther lightly on the cheek, something he only did when he felt guilty, and said, "I have a business trip in Lagos. I may not return tonight." Esther wiped her wet hands and smiled warmly at him. Her eyes were calm like deep water. "Okay. May God follow you." He entered his car, waved, and drove away. Inside the car, he laughed softly. She knows nothing. Sweet Esther. Quiet Esther. She will never find out. But at home, after the car left, Esther sat quietly with a small smile. Not a happy smile. Not a sad smile. A knowing smile. The kind of smile that says, "I see everything, even when I say nothing." She dried her hands, walked inside the room, opened her laptop, and clicked on a file. Emmanuel Eyes. A file she updated silently every time he went out. Photos. Chats. Hotel receipts. Call logs. Screenshots from his phone when he slept. Voice notes from women. Even his lies arranged like beads on a string. She looked at the file for a long time. Not with bitterness. Not with hate. Just quiet acceptance. She closed it and continued her day like nothing was wrong. She cooked dinner. She laughed with her children. She set Emmanuel's clothes for the next morning, clothes he may not even wear. Night came. Emmanuel did not return. As expected. He was in a hotel room with another woman, laughing, drinking, touching her like she was treasure. He forgot home. He forgot vows. He forgot Esther. Because Esther was too quiet. Too calm. Too peaceful. The next morning, Emmanuel returned smelling like perfume that wasn't Esther's. He walked into the house acting like a king returning from war. The children hugged him. Esther collected his bag and said softly, "Welcome." She didn't ask where he was. She didn't search him. She didn't cry. And that silence, soft like silk, hugged Emmanuel's pride even tighter. He believed Esther loved him too much to fight back. He believed she needed him more than he needed her. He believed silence meant weakness. He did not know silence can be strength. He did not know silence can wait. He did not know silence can see deeper than eyes. Days passed. Weeks passed. Months like invisible footsteps. Esther remained the same woman, calm, soft, gentle. The children grew. The business grew. And Emmanuel's secrets multiplied like ants on sugar. Then one night, quiet, slow, ordinary, everything changed. It was late, almost midnight. Emmanuel returned home tired from work. The children were asleep. Esther sat in the living room reading a book quietly. She looked at him with her normal soft eyes and said, "Welcome back. Your food is in the kitchen." He nodded, dropped his briefcase, and stretched his back. After eating, he decided to check something online. His own laptop was upstairs and he was too tired to climb. Esther's laptop was on the table, shining gently like it was waiting for him. He hesitated. Then he smiled. Esther has no secrets. She is too quiet. So he sat, opened the laptop, typed the password he already knew, and started browsing. Then it happened. A file blinked in the corner of the screen. A name pulled his eyes like a magnet. Emmanuel Eyes. He froze. His heart slowed. His skin felt cold. "What is this?" he whispered. With shaky fingers, he clicked it. And the world he built with pride began to crumble with silence. Emmanuel stared at the screen. His eyes didn't move. His body didn't move. Only his heart moved, up and down, like it was trying to jump out of his chest. The file name shone clearly. Emmanuel Eyes. He swallowed hard. His throat felt dry, like there was sand inside. For a moment, he thought maybe it was just a mistake, maybe it was about another Emmanuel. But this was Esther's laptop. This was his house. This was his name. His finger shook as he clicked the file. The screen opened. And then, everything inside him broke. There were pictures. So many pictures. In one picture, he was standing in front of a hotel room door with a lady in a red dress. In another, he was sitting on a bed talking on the phone, smiling, holding a glass of drink. In another one, he was hugging a woman in a hotel lobby. Some were taken from behind. Some from the side. Some looked like screenshots from his own phone. His mouth slowly opened in shock. "What is this? How?" he whispered. He scrolled down. There were screenshots of chats too. His own words. His own lies. Messages like, "I told my wife I'm on a business trip. I'm all yours tonight. Don't worry, she never checks my phone. My wife is too soft. She won't suspect anything." He felt hot shame burn his face. It was like fire on his skin. He wanted to close the laptop, but his hand refused to move. He kept scrolling. More evidence. More lies. More proof. Another screenshot showed him chatting with a woman. "I will be at the hotel by 8 p.m. My wife thinks I'm in Abuja for work." Beside that screenshot, Esther had written a small note in a simple text file. "You said you were in Abuja that night. You were 20 minutes from home." His chest tightened. He felt like he couldn't breathe. He scrolled down again. There were bank alerts, money he sent to other women. Receipts from rides to hotels. Pictures of him at restaurants, holding hands across the table. Esther had saved everything. Calmly. Quietly. Carefully. Since when? He whispered to himself. He looked at the dates. 2 years ago. 1 year ago. 6 months ago. Last week. His stomach turned. For all this time, Esther had known. She was not blind. She was not weak. She had seen every step he took in his secret life. And yet, she still cooked for him. She still smiled. She still played with him. She still called him honey. A strange cold fear crawled inside his body, like a small animal with sharp claws. He turned his head slowly and looked towards the living room door. Esther was no longer there. Maybe she had gone to sleep. The house was very quiet now. The clock ticked loudly on the wall. Tick, tick, tick. Every tick felt like a voice saying, "She knows. She knows. She knows." He shut the laptop quickly and leaned back in the chair. His shirt felt tight. His hands were sweaty. For the first time in a long time, he felt small. Very small. He tried to think. Why did she keep all this? Why didn't she confront me? Why didn't she shout, or cry, or pack her bags? A new, scary thought entered his mind. Maybe she is planning something big. Something quiet. Something dangerous. He jumped from the chair and started to walk around the room. His feet made soft sounds on the floor. His mind made loud sounds in his head. He walked to the bedroom door and opened it slowly. Esther was sleeping on her side of the bed. The room was dark, but the moonlight coming from the window fell gently on her face. She looked calm. Very calm. Too calm. Emmanuel stood there watching her. This same woman had all his secrets in a file. And yet she slept like a baby. No stress. No anger. No fear. He felt even more afraid. Angry, too. But not at her. At himself. He wanted to shake her awake and shout, "Why didn't you tell me you knew? Why did you act like everything was fine? What are you planning?" But he couldn't. His voice was stuck inside his chest. Instead, he walked back to the sitting room and sat on the sofa. His hands covered his face. His mind raced in circles. He felt like someone had pulled the floor from under his feet. What if she was talking to a lawyer already? What if she was quietly planning to take the children and leave him? What if one day, he would come home to an empty house? The thought made him feel sick. He grabbed his phone quickly and opened Esther's WhatsApp. His fingers moved fast. He checked her chats. Family group. Mother's group. Bible study group. School group. All normal. No secret chat with a lawyer. No long message about him. No friend she was complaining to. He checked her call log. Nothing strange. No unknown numbers. No long calls late at night. He checked her gallery. Pictures of the children. Pictures of food she cooked. Pictures of family outings. Nothing of him in hotels. Nothing of his lies. He suddenly realized something. All the truth she kept on her laptop. Not on her phone. Not with people. Inside a cold, quiet machine. Alone. She had never told anyone. She carried the truth by herself. That made Emmanuel feel even worse. He rubbed his forehead and whispered, "Why, Esther? Why are you doing this?" He thought back to all the times he hurt her without knowing she knew. The night he came home late and she warmed his food twice. The Sunday he lied he had a business meeting and missed church. The day she asked softly, "Are you okay?" and he answered with sharp words. And she said, I'm sorry, even when she did nothing wrong. Tears came to his eyes, but he wiped them quickly. Men don't cry, he always told himself. But tonight, his heart felt too heavy. He stood up and walked once more to the bedroom door. Esther was still sleeping. Her chest rose and fell slowly. He walked inside this time. He sat at the edge of the bed. He washed her face. He remembered their beginning. He remembered when they had nothing. When they sat on the floor to eat. When she followed him to the shop, helping him sell, counting money with him. When they planned the future together, hand in hand. She had been there from the start. She had built this life with him. And he had paid her back with lies. His eyes became wet again. He whispered, "What have I done?" He lay down beside her carefully, but sleep refused to come. Instead, pictures from the laptop kept flashing in his mind. Every screenshot was like a stone thrown at his heart. Hours passed. The clock moved from midnight to 1 a.m. From 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. Emmanuel's body was on the bed, but his mind was on fire. He could not take it anymore. He sat up suddenly. I have to talk to her. I have to know what she is thinking. I have to know if she still wants me at all. He gently touched Esther's shoulder. Esther, he whispered. Esther, please wake up. She moved a little but did not wake. He touched her again, a bit harder this time. Esther, please, wake up. I need to talk to you. Her eyes slowly opened. She blinked twice, then looked at him. Her face was calm, like the surface of quiet water. Is everything okay? She asked softly. Emmanuel looked into her eyes, and for the first time in a long time, he felt like a child who had done something very, very wrong. His lips trembled. His chest burned. His knees felt weak. Without thinking, he slipped down from the bed and knelt on the floor beside her. Esther, he began, his voice shaking, I'm sorry. Tears finally escaped his eyes and fell to the floor. I am so sorry. Emmanuel knelt with his hands shaking, tears dropping one by one onto the cold floor. He was a grown man, a husband, a father, a business owner. Yet in that moment, he felt like a small boy who lost his way in a dark room. Esther sat up slowly, her nightgown falling gently on her shoulders. She did not pull back. She did not raise her voice. She just looked at him, wide-eyed, calm, quiet. The same silence Emmanuel once ignored, now made his heart beat like a drum. He broke again, voice trembling like a leaf in wind. Esther, please forgive me. His words came out broken, scared, soft. He placed his forehead on her knees. He expected shouting. He expected anger. He expected a hand to push him away. But Esther only sighed, a deep, long sigh that sounded like a tired soul finally opening its mouth. She whispered something Emmanuel never imagined. I don't have anything against you. He raised his head slowly, confused. Her eyes were not angry. Her voice was not sharp. There was no bitterness. Just truth. Big truth. Quiet truth. She continued, I am healed already. Emmanuel blinked fast. He didn't understand. Healed? He asked, voice shaking. Esther nodded gently, like someone telling a child a lesson they must learn slowly. Yes. At first, I was hurt. I cried when you left. I prayed, hoping you would come home early. But later, I realized something. She placed her hand on her own chest. I cannot change you. The words entered Emmanuel like lightning, bright, sudden, painful. Esther continued, voice calm like morning water. I don't see you as my husband anymore. I see you as a normal human being living with me. I stopped expecting you to be faithful. I stopped waiting for you to love me correctly. I accepted you as you are. Her calmness stabbed deeper than anger ever could. Emmanuel felt his ribs tighten, like his heart was being squeezed. He spoke again, desperate. Esther, but why didn't you talk to me? Why keep everything inside? Why save that file? Esther smiled sadly, not a happy smile, not a mocking smile. A tired smile. Because silence can speak louder than shouting. Emmanuel froze. I watched you destroy our marriage slowly. I saw every lie, every hotel receipt, every chat with other women. I kept them not to punish you, but to remind myself of truth. I needed to see reality clearly. She looked him straight in the eyes, steady like a mountain. I didn't want to fight you, Emmanuel. I didn't want to beg for love. If you wanted to change, you would change. If you didn't, shouting wouldn't fix it. Her words wrapped around the room like soft thunder, quiet, but powerful. Emmanuel began to cry again, harder this time. He held her hands tightly. I have changed. I want to change more. I don't want to lose you. Esther looked at him in silence. Long silence. Then she gently pulled her hands from his. Not rudely. Just softly, like releasing something old. She stood up and walked to the window. Moonlight touched her face, making it glow like silver. Do you love me now because you want to, or because you are afraid of losing me? Emmanuel opened his mouth, but no words came. Because he didn't know. Was he truly sorry? Or just scared of her silence? Of the fire? Of his reflection in her eyes? He wiped his face and stood up slowly. I love you, he whispered, not loud, not rushed. For the first time, it sounded real. Not from pride. Not from power. From loss. Esther turned to him, searching his face like reading a book. Love is not just words, she said softly. It is action. It is change. That night, Emmanuel did not sleep. He lay beside her silently, staring at the ceiling. Thinking. Thinking of every woman he touched, every lie he told, every night he left home. Thinking of Esther's gentle hands cooking for him even when she knew the truth. Thinking of her laughter beside their children while carrying pain alone. He felt something inside him break. Not like falling apart, more like breaking open. Morning arrived softly. Birds sang outside. Sunlight entered the room like hope. Emmanuel sat up before Esther woke. He made breakfast for the first time in years. He dressed the children for school. He cleaned the sitting room, mopped the floor, ironed Esther's clothes. When Esther walked out of the bedroom, she paused, surprised. Emmanuel looked at her with soft eyes. I will not ask you to trust me today, he said. I will earn it slowly. Esther said nothing. But her heart moved, just a little. Days passed. Then weeks. Then, slowly, like a tree growing from a seed, love began to return. Not fast. Not perfect. But real. Emmanuel stopped late nights. Stopped secret numbers. Stopped traveling for lies. He stayed home more, laughed with his children, held Esther's hands gently, like they were made of glass. Sometimes Esther watched him quietly, wondering if he would break again. But he continued trying. He deleted contacts he should never have. He prayed more. He talked less. He listened more. And the house slowly softened again. One evening, months later, they sat in the backyard watching the children run and play. Emmanuel looked at Esther with quiet gratitude. Thank you for not shouting, he said. Your silence saved me. Esther didn't smile widely. Just a small one, soft, slow, real. I did not save you, she replied. You saved yourself when you finally listened. Their fingers touched gently, like two broken pieces reconnecting. Not rushing. Just learning each other again. The sun went down slowly behind them. The children's laughter floated in the air. The past was still there, but it no longer owned them. Some wounds don't heal with noise. Some hearts don't change with punishment. Sometimes, silence is the voice that wakes the sleeping soul. And Emmanuel's soul finally woke. He chose love. He chose truth. He chose home. Not because Esther demanded it, but because her silence taught him how to hear again. The story teaches that silence is not weakness, and quiet people often know more than they say. When love is taken for granted and trust is broken, wounds form even without a single word spoken. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting, it means choosing peace over bitterness and growth over pain. A gentle heart should never be abused, for softness is not a license to misbehave. True change comes from choice, not pressure, and love must be proven through action, not just promises. In the end, respect, honesty, and kindness are what keep a home standing, not power or secrecy. Before you go, remember, more timeless tales await. Subscribe, like, and share AB Folktale Stories, where wisdom lives forever.